In Omaha, the Oracle is coming off a humbling week. Warren Buffett moved to sell off his newspapers and saw the end of the rocky tenure of a CEO he once backed, Ginni Rometty at IBM. Editor-in-Chief Andy Serwer is back with us. Andy, surprising to see Warren Buffett get out of newspapers, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's had this long-standing love affair with newspapers, going back to when he was a 13-year-old boy delivering the Washington Post in Washington, D.C., when his father was a congressman from Nebraska. But, you know, times have changed. And, you know, he bought newspapers as recently as 2012, but I think this is finally, you know, the last straw. I mean, he actually turned over management of the papers last year to this company that he ended up selling to. And I think it's a sad day for him, but he's just essentially washed his hands.
But when you look at his investments, his portfolio overall, there are a lot more wins than there are losses, right?
That's what makes him Warren Buffett. That's right, Alexis. And, you know, the other thing that happened last week, as you guys mentioned, was Ginni Rometty stepping down as CEO of IBM. And he invested a bunch of money during her tenure, and it just didn't work out. And, you know, the stock lost 25% of its value essentially during the time that Ginni Rometty was CEO, and he ended up selling. And it was actually a big blow in terms of the market prestige for IBM during her time there. But as you say, Alexis, overall, the man does it, and he had one big, huge winner over the past couple of years, right?
Apple.
Yes.
Yes, that's right.
Which he got into the game late there on Apple.
2016, the first quarter is when he started buying sort of a, for him, modest amount, $1 billion. Right. But over the years, he added to the stake, and it was his two money managers, Todd Combs and Ted Weschler, who did this, made this call. And now his stake is worth some $75 billion. So he has made tens of billions of dollars, you guys, because of course the stock has doubled over the past 12 months or so. Right. So he's made tens of billions of dollars, far out mitigating any losses in IBM. The papers were couple $100 million. IBM was about $10-12 billion. So he's made $10, $20, $30 billion on Apple and counting at this point. And that's why he's the Oracle of Omaha, and we're sitting here at this news desk.
Andy, Warren Buffett getting out of newspapers, does that signal him shaking up the portfolio even more before he hands off the baton?
You know, I don't think so. I mean, this really was sort of a personal indulgence, Brian, the newspapers. And, you know, he owned the hometown paper, too, as well. And he even sold that. And he had the Buffalo News. That was a long-standing investment going back to the 1970s. Sold that as well. He's a news junkie. I mean, he famously would read five newspapers a day. And his line was, if you give me a sixth, I'd read that, too. And I still know he's devouring news. He's probably still reading hard copy out there.
Gotta love it.
You know, it's just something that people are just not getting the news that way, and we certainly know that as well as anybody, right?
Yeah, yeah. Now, I wrote a piece recently for our site about how millennials really look to Warren Buffett for advice and you know, to sort of look at their own portfolio and mirror him as best they can. I mean, they don't have billions to spend, but that Berkshire Hathaway is actually a big investment for a lot of millennials, made their top 10 investments in 2019. Of course, the FANG names were there and Berkshire Hathaway.
And they're combined, too, because his big investment was Apple, as we just said.
There you go.
So, you know, it's kind of just, you know, the Apple thing was buy what you know. But again, he relied on the two money managers for that. And whereas the IBM thing was his call, apparently, and it violated one of his, you know, classic Buffettisms, which is not to invest in technology because he doesn't understand it. Not sure why he did that. I'll be catching up with him over the next couple of months and be sure to ask him about that.
Yeah, look forward to that.
And the Apple one as well.
Yeah, all right.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.